Welcome back to Tao Twang. I'm Dave. So today we're going to work on this 2 chord progression. There is a loop. We've got a backing track, the one I just played over. I'll have a good length 5 or 6 minute MP3 file of that down below for you to develop your own thing with what I'm about to show you. And what that is, if you notice in that intro this time, I didn't just fly around and do everything I could think of, right? I was very methodical. I tried to pace it so that if you really like that sound, many of you will be able to go back and watch that one and kind of see and hear what's going on with those individual licks. And I'm going to show you some of that here. But the really core thing that I'm showing you today is how to move between those 2 chords. And in a larger sense, I guess, how that approach is sort of a fundamental method of improvising, right? So we're really kind of we're going to start with the roots of the E7 and the A7. That's the 2 chords. And we're just going to like riff around with the roots, okay? But it's kind of important that we do that with our index finger, okay? Now, you'll see, because most of the moves that I'm going to show you are kind of pivot or swivel around that. Right? So if you couldn't see, if you back in the day when we'd listen to records and figured this stuff out, couldn't always we couldn't ever see where the hand was, right? So and if you have a good ear, you're usually just kind of finding notes and stuff, and however you get it done, it's all good. But in this lesson today, just kind of do yourself a favor and just go with that first finger, because then the shapes will sort of fall in place better, right? And we're not going to talk about a lot of scale theory and stuff on this. If you recognize stuff, oh, that looks like major pentatonic, great, and that's part of your playing and your game plan for addressing this. But you think of it almost as just like shapes and moves and how we're going back and forth between the 2 chords, okay? Let's start with our loop here. Take a second to listen to it. Sometimes we're so anxious to get started with the guitar licks that we just aren't even really listening to the groove, or get that in your body for a second. E7. A7. All right, now we're just going to look for roots with our index finger for each one of those chords. Move them around different octaves and stuff. I'll start with this one. There's an E. Okay, so now what's going on? Well, we'll leave that on for a second. Is 2 frets up. Now you could slide it or bend it. Now let's turn this off for a second. Okay, so there we're getting into a pretty good little routine already. Now, if you noticed, some of those bends went up to, the major third of each one. So let's do the E. But sometimes I might start it like on that pre-bent one. And even within the same lick sometimes. So this is really one of the cool things about this session, and one of the things that you should really take the time to explore. See, right there, they were right next door to each other. One of them went, and one. See how all of that works? That's the blues note in major pentatonic. See, so we might think of it more in passing, if we were going. But, that stuff's always in play, okay? So this is not just a prescribed manner of doing it, but you need to investigate that. That makes a whole triad, doesn't it? You got a root, third, fifth. When it came down, blues note. All right. So now, and when you're on to something like that, plug it in a simple manner. Okay. So I'm going to turn this on. We're going to go index. Okay. Now, let yourself go. If you're used to these, playing it when they're major pentatonic patterns mostly, right? Put the kind of next level of it all is to put some of the connecting notes in between to get from one chord to the other. But what you'll find, and what's really cool and fun about this, is that by the time you get into this third and blues note stuff, you're almost already there, right? You don't need a lot of. Right? You almost might be thinking now, well, this all just looks like one scale. That just looks like A major pentatonic, or but however you deal with it in your head. But that's the thing, is that you're closing the gap. It's not like, oh, how do I get from this chord to that chord? It's like right there, right? And that's usually how it's all working. Okay. So some phrasing ideas, then we get you to the backing track and have at it. Do your thing. So just a summary briefly of up to where we are now. We'll find those roots with your index finger on different strings, and then really zone in. Do this off to the side to get into that major third. So we're going root, 2, that's the fifth. There's that little Joe Walsh business, isn't it? You can also do it up here. Go up to that 6 and come up there. Sometimes I really squeeze that. Okay. So now some phrasing stuff, and let's just do this with the track on. And you're not going to talk about this a whole lot. These are just ideas. But if you've got both of them, I'm going to start off just doing the same business just on both routes, and you'll see that you've already got something good going on there. And then you just want to do a little bit of moving around and direction changes and so forth. Hit my mic. All right, I let myself go there a little bit. I got in a jam or two. I'm not going to do it over. It's all good, man. You take those ideas, do your thing with them. If it's don't try to do it all at once. Don't try to run around and speed up. And I just do that at the end sometimes, and sometimes in some of the demos, because that's just me. I want to be natural when what I'm showing you. Also, I might have stuck in a little minor pentatonic on the E here and there or something, right? But that program that we went through today, it'll take you far, and I think it'll really kind of lead you into your own exploration of how to integrate that with other stuff that you're doing with your other blues scale, minor pentatonic blues scale and stuff like that. All right, let me know how this goes for you. Appreciate you. I'll see you next week.